Here she is, Lucille Ball. That's too much love for one human being.
No, it isn't.
That could swarm all over you for a... Huh?
It's very warm and nice.
Isn't it?
You always have a nice audience.
And they love you, Lucy. Wherever you go, every audience is terrific to you. You've never struck out in your life, have you?
Once.
Huh? Want to talk about it?
No.
Oh. What'd you hear? Maybe one little...
No, it's a long story, and I'm not going to tell you until you cook me another meal.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Anytime you want, Lucy. How you doing these days? You cooking?
I'm going to be. My help's going to China for 6 weeks, and I'm going to put Gary on a diet.
Are you?
What better time to do it?
Have you ever been a hot one in the kitchen?
There are a lot of things I know how to do that are sort of New England, but not Nate and Al's, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Which room are you best in at home?
Oh, beg your pardon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shame on my mouth for asking a thing like that. I want you to talk about the seminars you conducted in college.
Oh, well, I've been doing seminars for several years. That was the first one I ever did in a college. Sort of against my better judgment, which I told them at the time, the dean and the president and whatnot, because my way of so-called teaching is hard to grade. And I'd prefer to have an audience of 20 rather than 200.
Did you have 200?
Always. And
probably 200 waiting outside the door for somebody.
Well, it was a 3-credit course. I guess that's what you call it. And that sounded easy, I suppose. And it was easy. Too easy when you really don't know how to grade it. Now, that I don't want to go into it any more than that. But I prefer to do a seminar any place but in a college.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, there's just no way to grade Q&A.
It was all question and answer.
I insist upon that.
Did you ever get any amazing questions, Lucy?
I got some that I couldn't answer. They weren't, I guess they could have been very amazing. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Most because they're smarter than I am, because this was just not drama students.
Right.
And I had been connected with drama students. There's one right there in the front row.
Is it a student?
That's Stuart, yes.
Well, I want to tell you, I love Stuart. He gave me one of the biggest cheers when I walked out.
Well, he knew I was here.
Oh. What's he cheering me for if he knew you were here?
But he has done a fine job. Now, there's an enterprising young man who gets out and does for himself the type of thing that I talk about to students, that I make them aware that I am aware that they have a lot of rejection talk. And that's all they hear. What do you want to get into that for? You'll never get any place. You can't do this, you can't do... I don't discuss that any more than what I have just now. I know you get a lot of rejection talk, and I try... My God, my mouth just turned to cotton.
Here it is.
I try to give them an up start, and knowing that they're going to be off and flying and out of the womb and on the street looking for a job, and everybody's going to say it's impossible.
Right.
And I try to make them believe that nothing is impossible, or I never would have gotten a job. You never would have, because weren't we told the same thing?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Oh, yeah, but you never can. You can't crack through. You haven't.
No,
you
you
don't
can't.
know
No,
this.
there's no way. So we forget about that as soon as possible. And we go into how the child, the young man, the young lady can take care of themselves and not take the rejection personally.
But do you ever see a situation, though, Lucy, where a youngster just may not have it?
Yes.
And do you tell them?
Yes, sometimes. I try to steer them in another direction. There are perpetual students also.
Right. Classroom actors. who
No,
stay
not
in
even
class.
actors. They're just perpetual students. They just come to class.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. They don't get up. They don't raise their hand. They don't do anything. But they come, and they turn in a paper or whatnot.
But we have those in show business. We have perpetual auditioners. Years ago, when they were doing Say Darling on Broadway, they needed a lady for the part in it who had a really bad dancing act. And they picked a lady who had come to every audition ever on Broadway, and they offered her the part, and she said, "Oh, no, I don't accept parts, I audition." Right?
Right.
That's the same thing.
Anyway, what was I going to say?
But you...
Whoa,
I was going to help you. These 6 had it, and you knew it. And that all the monies had been used to get new teeth and new hair. See, folks, it's also important that you listen on these shows, too.
And may I say, you are one of the better listeners. I have to congratulate you on being one of the finest for this type of show that could be.
Thank you, Lucy. That is really
I
nice.
sometimes am not listening to what the person says. I am watching you listen.
Really?
Yes, you're very good. Anyway, what I was going to say, I have now forgotten again.
As the master of the business of how to get a laugh, and you have been known to tell such quality players as Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor that they missed 3 laughs in the show, and here's how to get them. Can you really teach somebody how to get laughs, Lucy? Or is
the way you phrased it, yes.
Is comedy inside?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think writing is important. Yes, you can show someone how to get a laugh out of the execution, but how to be funny, no. And I would never try that. But you don't necessarily have to be a funny person to get a laugh. If it's written, then you take the direction and do with it, because that's the way I learned.
Right.
I'm not a funny person. Gary is. Gary has a kid. My daughter is. My daughter thinks kinky, what I call woolly kinky, you know, funny. I don't.
You're not funny off?
No.
But on camera? No one can touch you.
Well, thank you, but that's not quite true.
Would it be an imposition? Of course it would.
Yes, don't do it. Don't do it.
Just for once, just give us that laugh. The cry. I mean the cry. Oh, come on, you're famous for it, Lucy. I just want to watch it up close.
I don't want to do it, and I'm not going to do it.
We'll be back.